And our next guest has written his latest novella called A Boarding School Boy's Regrets. So on the line to tell us more, we have writer and author Louis Hemmings, and poet as well, because we've often chatted to you about some of your poetry, Louis, on the show. And it's if this book is anything like the poetry that we've talked about, I'm sure there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that it's going to be a great read.
Yes.
And Louis, it's something I want to talk to you about, first of all, is the title of the book, because it implies, it implies a slight, I suppose, disappointment, shall I say, with boarding school. But I believe it was actually your choice to go.
Yes, it was my choice to go. When I was 11, I heard that my parents were going to get divorced. I heard from my parents that they were going to get divorced, so I chose to go to boarding school to get away from all the chaos that I knew was coming.
And what part of the country then was it in?
It was down in Waterford, and the regret element is I had to leave 3 years before I should have, due to a set of circumstances that are kind of partly revealed in the novella.
Okay. So I've heard that your friends and family kindly suggest that you're obsessed with your time there a little bit.
Yeah.
So what's the backstory like? It sounds like you must have had a pretty good, or at least an interesting time there at the very least.
I had a very interesting time there. The school was Newtown in Waterford, that the novella is based on. And some of it is factual in the novella, and some is not. I'll leave the readers to decide which is which. It was just good because I wasn't sporty and I wasn't academic. I was just let be myself, and that self was mainly artistic. And then in third year, I discovered that I had some capability of writing, and it was a co-ed boarding school, and I had a girlfriend there, quite a toxic relationship actually, and she ran away, and she'd done other things as well, which will be revealed in the novella. And I wrote my first piece of teenage trauma verse, which is a fact, and I tore it up and threw it in the bin. That's a fact. And the last fact is that she heard about the poem, looked around the room, couldn't find it, looked in the bin, and sellotaped it back together again in 1972.
Louis, stop. You're kidding me.
So I've been writing ever since.
Go away. That was your first taste of poetry.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. That's it's a very interesting story now, I have to say. So yeah, there's a bit of backstory there, and you said a few times it'll all be revealed in the novella. I'd love to pick your brains about it a little bit more, but you have to keep your cards close to your chest so people actually go and buy it, of course. So yeah, like I mentioned, it's interesting because the title implies disappointment, but we've just heard from you there that it was an interesting time. So just tell us about the new book. Is it an account of maybe, of course you've explained a couple of the details to us there, but broadly speaking, is it an account of maybe the enjoyment that you had, or is it an account of maybe trying to explain to people who haven't been to boarding school what it's like? Is it artistic? Let us know. I'll let you explain.
Okay. So basically, it's the theme, the plot of the novella hinges around the hero Ben and a friend of his that he met in college called Xenia go down to the boarding school to do a documentary shoot of the school, because the school is changing. Parts of it are going to get knocked down, and that is a fact. So I went to the school in 2018 with a documentary photographer, and we spent a couple of days down there. So I've used that to kind of hinge the whole story on, except I've set it in the late 70s, early 80s, not currently. And so each room represents a certain story. There's the classrooms, the assembly room, the common room, the archives room. And so each story about the bullies, about being beaten up by one of the teachers, by the way, about the supper dances, about the girlfriends, and so on. So I've also, by the way, I was at college a few years ago at a creative writing and digital publishing course down in Blackrock, further education. And I made a website called Newtown Treasure Trove of Fond Memories that people can see after this if they are interested. So what I'd like to do, if I may, is just read out a very short.
Yeah, you're going to be so kind to do that for us. That would be fantastic.
From one of the rooms, and it's my second form room. So the Ben and the photographer are going around the school, and this is going into the second form room. On the blackboard, in chalk writing, was a list of Latin verbs: amo, amas, amat, amamus, amatus, amant. I hope I'm saying that right. Facing the rows of sloping wooden desks was a low platform that mounted the teacher's desk. In its carved trough were sticks of chalk and a blackboard eraser. Ben remembered his Latin teacher called Bam Bam, that's his nickname, by the way, a bald-headed, pencil-mustachioed man who wore the same baggy grey flannel suit every day. Ben imitated the teacher's deep, booming voice for Xenia. Boy, if I cut your head in two and found concrete in one half, what would I find in the other half? More concrete. Xenia laughed at Ben's copying the teacher's drawl put down and wondered if it was ever aimed at Ben in class. She said, "This room is so old-fashioned and atmospheric. I love the grained wood of the partition between the two classrooms." She set up her tripod, placed her camera on it, and adjusted her settings. Then she bent over and squinted through the viewfinder. "Could you step aside, please, Ben? Your shadow is affecting my view." Unbidden, Ben started telling her about a romance that took place in that room, distracting her concentration. She sighed and reluctantly humoured him by listening. That's the excerpt.
Louis, I just kind of just took a back seat there, I have to say, and just listened to that. It's absolutely great. I really enjoyed that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. It's not often on the show I get to just, take my ease and just be sucked in by your fantastic storytelling. So that was a real pleasure. Thank you for sharing that with us. And that is one excerpt of, I'm sure, many, many that people would love to read in the book, A Boarding School Boy's Regrets. So where is it available?
It's only available through me, Louis, at Some of Our Books. I'm on Facebook, and they can go there, or they can just Google Louis Hemmings. I'm all over the internet. €5 worldwide. I just want it to be available to people, and it takes, there's 49 pages in it, so it'll take about an hour to read in today's time-pressured internet lives. It's only an hour off your time.